I'm so excited to be here at SmartyPants headquarters with CEO Courtney Nichols Gould.
Thank you so much for having me.
Tell us maybe the inspiration to coming up with SmartyPants.
I think like a lot of ideas that tend to turn into something bigger, it really just started with our own family and conversations we had with other parents and friends and pediatricians around trying to find something that we could use to bridge the gaps in our kids' diet that really focused on the things that we knew they weren't getting enough of, or vitamin D because they're wearing sunscreen, but that also was affordable. And so the question was, could we actually find something that had all those things? It was affordable, and they would take, and we would feel good about as parents. And that was really the original idea with the product that we launched, which was this Kids Complete. And so we couldn't find it. And so the question was, could we make something ourselves? And that was really the original idea. And it was really just for kids. And then the whole company became something else, actually, once we were out in the market.
So tell us about that. When the company became something else, what did company become?
So this is really, for me, the pivotal moment in the company, and when we became what I think of now as SmartyPants, was actually after we launched this Kids Complete. We just launched it online. It was the single product. It's in our house. You know, our kids are like handwriting thank you notes to our customers. We didn't have a master plan. We actually weren't launching a vitamin company. We were launching this one product. But what happened maybe 4 or 5 months after the product was live, we started getting all these parents that were emailing us back and saying, oh my gosh, my kids love these. I feel so good about giving them to them. I wish you made one for me because now I'm stealing my kids' vitamins. And that is really when Gordon and I stepped back, I think, and I remember we went to Whole Foods and stood in the vitamin aisle. And we realized that problem exists not just for parents, but for everybody. And so that really is when the company, I think, became SmartyPants. And that's when it became something much bigger than a single product. It really became a company. And we realized, wow, we really have something on our hands. We could really try to change the industry and show people that you can have high expectations for your vitamins. They should be easy to take and delicious and be really good for you.
Why do you think you've done so well, or SmartyPants has done so well, versus so many other very big vitamin brands out there?
Well, I mean, I think some of those brands have done quite well too, but I really it gets back to this, which this idea that every time we make a new product, we come back to this question, which is, are we really solving a problem? And tell me every single piece of that problem, because it's never just one thing.
Right.
And so, you know, we say around here a lot, it's about all the little things. It's really about thinking about every single aspect.
I love that. It's all about the little things, but the details.
Right.
So I want to talk about reaching your consumer. You've done such a great job. You have a very devoted following. How do you continue to keep that communication going as you grow as a business?
You know, when we started the business, I made this commitment that I was going to read every customer service email because it's a real bellwether of what people are paying attention to and what matters to them. And I think it's actually what's made us very successful at getting to market first, ahead of both on the science side, meaning what are emerging deficiencies that we're seeing in the research that tell us we need to focus on that nutrient more in what we're making, as well as though what customers are paying attention to, so what matters to them. And non-GMO is a very good example of that. I see it in one customer service email maybe once a month, then I see it once a week, then 3 times a week, then 3 times, you know, and so you watch as that starts to surface, and it's a pretty good indication, I think, of where the market is going. And so that, for me, has been a really good tool.
And let's talk about how you manage your team at this scale. I mean, when you were first starting off, you said you were working out of your home the first few years. How did you pivot that to grow into such a large enterprise that you have now?
You know, we did add people and products at a relatively modest rate in the beginning. And I think you know this with startups, one of the biggest mistakes is people go out and raise too much money. And I think you can make really dumb mistakes when you have too much money. In the beginning, having too little capital makes you smart. We hired 1 or 2 people and they were relatively junior. And one of them actually became our head of sales. I mean, she was 22 and an agent's assistant at ICM when she started for us. And by the time, you know, she's now moved on to business development, she's running a sales organization that's doing tens and tens of millions of dollars in sales.
So Courtney, you've talked a lot about making mistakes, and most entrepreneurs would agree we have to make a lot to make the right one, right?
That's right.
But maybe you could share with us maybe your best pivotal mistake.
Okay. There's one kind of on the back side of the house, so more on the supply operations, and one maybe that's more customer facing. On the supply side, brutal. I just remember there was a global shortage of vitamin E, and that was not something that would have even occurred to me. I'd never made a thing before, right? So you realize if you're making something that has 15 different ingredients, you have to make sure you always have access to all 15 ingredients. So of course, at the exact moment that it's taking off on Amazon and people are loving it, it's doing really well, and all of a sudden there's a global shortage. And if you can imagine, we're this tiny company, we're not on the top of anyone's list as important. So that was a pretty painful lesson that we learned, and from that moment forward, always made sure that we're thinking about the supply chain and ingredients as a real critical piece of risk for the business that we've got to think about, right? On the front side, it's one that has more to do with my instincts. So I think I've learned several times the hard way that outside of medical expertise, so we have a scientific advisory board that reviews and guides all the decisions we make in terms of the nutrients that are in our product. The opposite of that is I remember being in a meeting where we're raising money that we needed, we really needed. And we talked about going into how we'd gone into the adult market. And we told them, the name SmartyPants, and they said, oh, well, you definitely should not use that name. You should definitely come up with a different name. No one will take you seriously. It's so hard as it is to go from kids to adult. And we thought about it. We actually contemplated, should we change the name? And then we realized, this is who we are. And if someone doesn't get the joke, they're probably not our customer anyway. And so we walked away from the money. That was a mistake we almost made that really taught us how important it is to kind of stick to your instincts, I think.
Well, Courtney, thank you so much for sharing all these pivotal moments with us. So what has been the result for the company? What did the numbers show?
We've been quite successful, I'm happy to say. So, it started out in our house with the two of us in our back house, and we're now here. We have north of 60 employees, maybe 65 employees. We've been on the Inc. 500 list 4 years in a row as one of the fastest growing companies, and definitely one of the fastest growing companies across all channels of retail in the supplement industry. We're the number one multivitamin, number one prenatal. I think we've got 4 or 5 number one ranks on Amazon as well. We're in Costco now with several SKUs. We're sold chain-wide at Walmart. So we've had some pretty explosive growth, and we expect that to continue expanding internationally into other markets. And our goal and our plan is to be one of the top 5 supplement companies in the country in the next few years.
Incredible. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
I'm Courtney.
And I'm Gordon.
And we're on the road to the smarter way to healthier.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching Investors Business Daily on YouTube. If you want to watch more videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing.